And others here translated that to a real academic MA program. But there was no doubt that Joan and Father Ted wanted the tools of peacemaking to be developed like they were in no other place. And certainly the fact that there are almost 500 of your predecessors out there carrying on that tradition gives you not only the right to hang that shingle, but to realize you stand on those shoulders of Father Ted and Joan, all the faculty here, and the graduates. I think it's appropriate then that I close my remarks with a recognition of Father Ted's impact. Some of you who are on these networks may have seen one of the delightful things that went viral over the last couple of days was Father Ted's last graduation talk to the class of 1987 here at Notre Dame. I think it's so appropriate what he said at the end before he gave the Catholic blessing to note what he said it bears for us, particularly you all in the class of 2015. Let us agree that we shall never forget one another. And whatever happens, let us remember how good it felt when we were all together, united by a good and decent feeling that made us better people. Better probably than we otherwise would have been. Congratulations.
Thank you, George, and thank you for not taking 2.5 hours. That was brilliant. Now it is time for us to have the actual recognition of our graduates. So I would like to ask Karen LeClaire to come. And also Ruth Abbey and Jack Mullen, if you could come up and be ready to greet our graduates. And if our graduates could line up according to Sarah Bosha, Zimbabwe. Luis Felipe Botero, Colombia. Karen Campion. Prashant Javisar. John DeTillo, U.S.A. Carolyn Edelbeck, U.S.A. Laili Fatria, Indonesia. Huda Ibrahim, Somalia. Jelena Jankovic, Serbia. Yemi Keden, Ethiopia. Ying Ling, China. Amber McChesney Young, U.S.A. Michael McDonald, U.S.A. Navas, Caputo, Colombia. Adam Neme, Kuldeep Narala, Nepal. Zakia Nori, Afghanistan. Gatwech Ruot, South Sudan.
He is so dressed up.
Father Julius Okoji, Nigeria. Francis Opio, Uganda. Natalia Tejada Vargas, Colombia. Carmel Welton, Canada. And last but not least, Asil Zaran, Jordan. Let's have another round. I think this may, in fact, be the largest class we've had, and certainly one of the most energetic in town. It is my pleasure now to introduce Ann Painter, who will come up and officially welcome you to the Alumni Association.
More than a quarter century ago, when the Kroc Institute was merely a gleam out of Ted's eye, he envisioned a new kind of program, which would bring young people from around the world to Notre Dame to study peace, to identify the greatest challenges facing the world, and share their visions of how to address them. They would live together and learn from each other, and they would spread out around the world to create a global network of peace builders which could support each other and multiply their effect. Indeed, as Father Hesburgh's life has been recalled in recent months, the Peace Institute is often counted as one of his outstanding legacies. But in fact, it is you, the graduates of the Peace Institute, who are his living legacy as you make his dream a reality. When the Institute welcomed our first MA students in 1987, we had no clear idea of how this global network of peace builders might function. This was not only before the internet, it was before fax machines were very common. When we needed to communicate urgently with colleagues in the Soviet Union, we could send a cable, or we could place a phone call through an international operator, which took 6 or 8 hours to go through. When students graduated, we promised to mail alumni newsletters to keep in touch with them. Eventually, though, the world caught up with Father Ted's vision. Almost 20 years ago, the internet began to play a role in the life of the university. And we discovered new possibilities for global communications. Though at the time, when it first came out, students were still carrying around their email on floppy disks. But finally, social media and other new technologies have made it possible for this international peace-building network that Father Ted envisioned to really become into fruition. We are in daily contact now with alumni throughout the world, and we're constantly exploring new ways of empowering them to support each other and to heal the world. 2 years ago, you came to us from Amman, Bogota, Ouattara, Guangzhou, Silver Spring, Harare, Belgrade, Addis Ababa, and Mogadishu. This week, you begin spreading out again to Ambon, Paris, Bogotanga, Colombo, Oakland, Manila, Seattle, Lulu, Toronto, and Washington, D.C. But in spite of appearances to the NGO's coordinator at the International Monetary Fund in Washington, Joe from California teaches natural building and ecological design around the world and co-founded Builders Without Borders. In The Hague, Rosette is the longest-serving legal officer with the International Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda. Huang is Deputy Director of the Diplomatic Academy of Vietnam. In Geneva, Hannah serves as Coordinator of the United Nations Commission of Inquiry on Syria. And Shamsia, who is with us today from Nairobi, works for Catholic Relief Services in Kenya, managing a program on interreligious community dialogue. We're confident that each of you will become important links in this global alumni network. We will soon add you to the online map of Kroc alumni and look forward to updates from you for the rest of your lives. When you arrived from all corners of the world to this corner of Indiana, many of you were seeking direction and illumination. During this year, some of us have been identified as teachers and some as students, but we on the faculty have learned as much from you as you have from us. In truth, we are all teachers and we're all students. There's an old-fashioned word which is not often used as it used to be, vocation. It comes from the Latin vocare, to call, and it means the work that you are called to by God, by life. Frederick Buechner writes about vocation, there are all different kinds of voices calling you to all different kinds of work, and the problem is to find out which is the voice of God. The kind of work God calls you to is the kind of work that you need most to do and that the world most needs to have done. Neither the hair shirt nor the soft berth will do. The place you are called to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. The search for vocation, for the place to which we are called, is both a personal search and a common one. We're each gifted with unique skills, questions, and passions to apply our shared work of repairing the world, and our individual work affects that of the rest of us. Adam Curl, who founded the Peace Studies program at Bradford University, describes this reality in his poem, Indra's Net. At each intersection of the endless net of Indra's heaven, according to the myth, there is a bead that represents a life. Each bead reflects every other, and every reflection of every other. In the subatomic field, each hadron affects and is affected by all the rest, resulting in a flux of energy and movement in which little can be foretold, save unpredictability and endless change. The boundaries between us are hallucinations. We are members of one another, dancing together spontaneously like the hadrons, containing each other like the beads. We hope that this year together, with each other and with the faculty at Notre Dame, as members of one another, has helped bring you closer to finding your vocation, that place where your skills, questions, and passion can best be put to use, that place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. Welcome to the Global Network of Peace Builders, which is the alumni of the Kroc Institute. And now we would like to invite our graduating students to give their presentation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know we should have brought some bagels as a joke, but just allow me to re-echo what has been said. I think a couple of things came out from the previous people who have been here. But I wish, on behalf of my colleagues, the graduates of 2015, to recognize the presence of our mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers. We're really happy that you're here. You have come a long way to be with us here, and we really appreciate that. I also wish to take this opportunity not to forget faculty and staff of Kroc here present. You have really, really modeled us in a way I will never forget. You know, as I stand here, very many of you are asking and wondering. I know you've heard Professor Susan say that I'm from Uganda. But if I took a random sample and asked one person to tell me where each of any of the graduates come from, I bet we might get probably, I don't know, maybe 80%. But just so you know where we all come from, we're going to take you on a trip around the globe. This trip requires no ticket, it requires no booking. All you need to do is just fasten your seatbelts and move yourself to the projector.
That's a long trip.
It's really a long trip.
Yeah, man.
Last but not least, Russian Defisa. Thank you very much for coming with me on that trip. You know, if you've visited the Kroc website, you realize that we're only 25. As you can all see from the second row seated here. But I wish to say that along the way, we had some additions. Additions from John Titilo, additions from Kuldeep, additions from Sarah. They had extraordinary character, strength. Besides the stressful assignments that we did, they were really tough, and they brought new souls to us. I wish to welcome Adele, invite Adele to say a couple of words and invite them to the forefront.
So yeah, as Francis introduced, we started as 25, and I think we're finishing up as 28, and probably even more with the spouses and partners. As some of you might know, I switched from engineering. It was very difficult for me to adjust to the social studies and the amount of reading. And just when I was struggling and spending long, long nights, one of my classmates, Sarah Bosha, would show up to class with a baby growing in her belly. And you know, I will never experience such a thing, but I'm sure it's very demanding. And witnessing how how Sarah was dealing with her pregnancy and being a dedicated master's student really allowed me to appreciate motherhood, allowed me to appreciate the struggles that Sarah and other mothers would have to go through as their pregnancy during this program. So that inspired me a lot. Almost a year later, probably a few months, we were all happy to know about the addition of Joe to our program, the first male friend we had who suddenly had a kid. So we're happy to do that. And then last but not least, we also welcomed Avanish, Kuldeep's son. So we want to recognize all our classmates who, when we thought we were busy and overwhelmed building peace and writing papers, they were doing that, on top of that, creating life, and nursing that life, and making sure that life was well taken care of. So I want to recognize our classmates. I'm going to start with Sarah, and I'm not sure if your husband Otis is here, but would you please come on stage? And with you, I want to recognize Rose, Joe, and John. And I want to recognize Susma, Avanish, and our brother Kuldeep.
You're sitting there very happy, huh? You're not doing nothing, huh?
On behalf of all your classmates and the partners and your partners, I want to thank you for adding the blessings into our lives. And we look forward to hearing more about your children and how they progress and grow. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much for young people that come up. I don't know. Is it okay to award them something? But I mean, they also did something. Because as Sarah was reading, I remember in Esbert Library, she would say, oh, sure. Oh well.
The wall is safe, but our wall is kind of borrow. Can they control? They fight it.
The second thing on our presentation is one thing that I remember very well. That we had very extraordinary experiences when we came to Kroc. Each of us from all the different countries that you've seen up there came here with high expectations, fears, but at the end of the day, we all had different feelings of how the journey was. So, I want to present you a video, but before I do that, I wish to call on Mike, who is the director and producer of this video, taking us through a journey of different narratives of people's experiences, our experiences as students at Kroc. Please, Mike.
Of them coming out.
Wow.
But I have to tell you, it's just like, oh shoot. It's phenomenal. I wish more people could have the experience of being in a room of this shape. I like the shape first of all. In a room with people that you celebrate so much and having them celebrate you. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, people in this room are like the smartest, most compassionate people I've ever encountered. and you've all come here to say congratulations to us. Wow. Well, we decided in that circle process was we were going to try, and one of the things to present to you is a video. Now, my classmates know me, and they know that I'm a perfectionist. And so they said, you know, we're worried about this with you, Michael. How do you think it's going to go? And I said, here's how it's going to go. You guys didn't tell me this is exactly what I said. I said, I'm going to tell you right now it's going to be fine. I'm going to start working on it tomorrow. I'm going to spend all of my time on it for the next 3 days. I'm going to tell people that I'm not going to interview you all. I can only just get a few. But I'm going to end up trying to interview everybody. I'm not going to sleep Friday night. I'm going to end up skipping the first ceremony Saturday. And I'm going to show up with the film right before or maybe during the ceremony. But I can tell you right now that I think maybe this is the time that it won't happen. Maybe I'll get it done early. Well, that is exactly what happened. The only thing it didn't include is that my girlfriend got sick during the process. So it was even worse because I couldn't take care of her. So, but what we have here is, it's not even, I wouldn't even call it a video, okay? It's a strand of stories. And I can promise you that the yarn that was made to knit this is phenomenal. Because the yarn are the stories inside the bodies of the people of the second row. And they are phenomenal. They're amazing. Now the knitting itself was pretty bad because I had about 16 hours of interviews. I had to transcribe them and then edit them. And I have to tell you, some of the most beautiful moments I had to cut out because I don't know, I haven't slept and my brain cut them out. But again, just to bring you back now to the video, there was a moment when we first started this program where Teresa took us into a museum as one of our classes. And we were all wondering, what are we going to a museum for, right? And now this is to you guys, my classmates too. You remember we stood around this one painting, right? And we looked at it. And we talked about the painting for like 2 hours. And it was this whole thing. But what was so phenomenal about that conversation is you're looking at one thing, but you see 25 things. And even more, because everyone in this class is so smart that they look at things in 100 ways. So it's like, I don't do math, but whatever that is. So what I wanted to do, and the reason why I kind of gave my all to this the last 3 days, was because I thought, how great would it be if, when we end things off, we have an experience with that. But instead of the painting, it's not, like the French Revolution that we're looking at. It's our experience of Kroc. So that's what this tries to be. And again, I had to cut out some really beautiful things. Among them, I'm going to throw this in there just because I think it's so enriching to me. I didn't ask. But was a moment when, some of the moments of this film are funny, some are vulnerable, some are just whatever.
On that note, I'm going to revisit what Professor Teresa told us, that you can never go wrong. I remember this was in our professional development class. You can never go wrong with saying thank you. And I wish to call on Lily, please, could you come forward? Lily is going to, on behalf of all of us, going to give a couple of remarks to faculty and staff of Kroc.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for congratulating us, and congratulations to me and our cohorts. So, since this is my first time for such an honor to represent my cohorts in delivering a speech and convey our limitless gratitude to all of the professors and staff at the Kroc Institute, and since I was chosen due to the assumption that I use the word theoretical framework a lot, and that's why professors gonna love me. I was a bit nervous, and last night I tried to Google simple speech for thank you. simple speech, no matter how best they are, no matter how good they are, that can convey and express our feeling. No words are enough to express our feeling of gratitude, of blessing, to have all of you supporting us during our journey in Kroc Institute for this 2 years program. So I'm here to say that we are feeling blessed, loved, privileged, and honored to be able to learn from all of the professors and staff at the Kroc Institute during this 2 years program. Your commitment and dedication will always be our torch in fostering peace, no matter where we are, no matter what we do, and no word is enough to express our heartfelt thanks. And thus I would like to invite all of the professors and staffs to stand up. Okay, thank you very much. And before I come into tears, thank you very much for giving all the opportunity to us and giving all the support for us. And I hope that we can really, although we cannot, but I hope we can really do our best to pay all of this back to the Kroc Institute by doing good work and services to humanity from all parts of the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Lady, for that touching, remark of gratitude. It's before I even dreamt of boarding a plane and leaving my humble home in northern Uganda, I didn't know that one day there would be somebody seated somewhere thinking that Francis and so many others would make a difference. It's very sad that he's not with us here today. And I don't think I'm going to call on Felipe to continue with this. Please.
So finally, we want to thank the person that made possible for us to be here this day. So I want to ask you to have 50 seconds of silence in the memory of Father Hesburgh, that one day had the dream of us coming here. Thank you.
On that note, I think this is our final slide, but would wish you to have a view of it. This has been our journey. You'll see a lot of moments of fun, moments of stress, and a lot of other things. So I won't talk much. It's a 5 minutes slideshow of all the photos, all the moments that we shared, all the 25 graduates and the professors, faculty, staff of Kroc.
I would like to end by also offering thanks to all of you and but especially to the people in the MA program who have been such amazing support to me and to all of our students and who have really made this possible. First of all would be Karen LeClaire, our graduate program manager. The details person from the moment you're admitted until the moment you leave. She has every detail, and there are very many, getting you from the countries that you come from to here to other countries and back again and out the door. And she is amazing as a details person. She is probably even more amazing as a community builder. She has always been there for you. She has always been a huge support and is a big part of why this cohort model works so well. And so we thank Karen for that. Also, of course, we thank Diane King, who is the electronic wizard, who keeps all of your questions about the program in order, who manages the many, many admissions files that we get that resulted in you coming here and that will track you through our database into the future. But who also is always a friendly face and willing to be an incredible DJ at your parties. We thank Jen Betts, who is a new and very valued addition to our program as the Assistant Director of the MA program, but also a graduate who brings a wealth of experience and knowledge and love to all of you. And then finally, to Ricky Keeley, who in your first year was the Associate Director of the Master's Program and who took you on the long journey through professional development, and that has led to where you are, who's given several hours of mentorship and leadership development and many hours of hearing. And so we also thank her. Now, I have to admit, I always say a few final words, but oddly enough, George actually stole my final words in giving the Father Hesper quotation. But I'm not without a few more words. And mostly these are words that come out of that vision of Father Hesburgh and Mrs. Kroc, and things that I think really bind us together and that you carry forward for us. So one thing I came across as I was looking through quotations from Father Hesburgh was a very simple thing, a very simple description that he gave about what he thought the task of the university, and particularly the Peace Institute, was. And it is in that perfect, brilliantly simple language that only Father Hesburgh could have, and I wish I had the baritone to go along with it, but he said, one of the great things we do at the university is we take people from small towns and large towns all over the world and mix them together, and when they leave, they have a friend in every corner of the globe, if they're at all gregarious. And somehow their vision is enlarged. I think we have no doubt that you are all incredibly gregarious. We thank you for enlarging our vision, and we're very happy that your vision has been enlarged by your time here. And then finally, there was an interview in the mid-'80s where Father Hesburgh made this reflection, which I hope can serve as something of a blessing. I know he would be so incredibly proud of all of you. And the words are these. Part of the movement toward peace is to convince people that you cannot create peace unless you are at peace yourself, within your own being, within your family, with neighbors and classmates, with the nation in which you live, where you are committed to the common good, that is, to everyone, with your global neighbors. Unless peace begins on the small microcosm of a person's own life, there is not much hope of spreading it outward to the larger world. But if you are a person of peace, and you are dedicated to peace, and you are willing to pray for peace, and willing to sacrifice for peace, then I think we have hope. Thank you for being such people dedicated to peace and emblems of hope for us all. We will